can see when tax kind of went into place, you have the quick ascending to higher levels as they're settling into new testing. And ours is kind of really just kind of stayed about the same in the last 4 or 5 years. This year we did see some reductions in some areas and some increases in a few. Let's look at this. Take a look at reading first of all. And you can kind of see, so some of the areas decreased in reading scores, and our overall scores came down just a little bit, I think 3 percentage points. You can look at mathematics. Writing. Social studies, and they're doing up in most areas. And science. So again, pretty much either stay the same or just stuff. So let's say the science kind of moving up a little bit. Reading, math, and writing dipping a little bit in the state scores. You know, we talked last year how it was really important to not pay attention to TPM. Now you see why it's not important not to pay attention to TPM? Because the state decided to play games with the TPM. And in fact, the commissioner put the TPM in place against the recommendation of superintendents and testing coordinators who recommended using a different system. And so that was completely his control of how he did that. And now he's taking it away because of the way that it was instituted at the state level. You're never going to put a system in place that will get support across the state, except for educators, which I was very disappointed in some educational leaders who embraced it. They only embraced it because they liked their ratings at the time. And so now you see just this confusion of ratings across the state, where we go from 270, 240 districts ratings to 61. Are you really telling me that the quality of education decreased substantially in those settings over the last year? We've added this year the SAT to mean SAT, and we look at the same timeline as the other scores, and we've added the mean ACT scores. Look at those aside. Now, I want to go back just a second. I want to just get a visual of these. Okay, just look at the visual aspects of the graphs. So look at that one. That one. That one. Okay, what do you notice in the difference of those graphs? Flat. Okay, and how would you interpret that? How would you interpret that data, that result? Well, you could look and say, okay, we didn't affect it at all because it stayed pretty much flat. That's true. We probably had more kids than we have, had more kids tested on the right side of that graph. So you could also view it as, the data shows, research shows that as you test more kids in SAT, ACT, the scores typically go down. So you could feel good about the fact that, yeah, it is flat, but we tested more kids and we didn't see a substantial decrease. What else? Compare that, think about those tax graphs we showed you, and think about this graph. What's that? You can't teach to this test necessarily. What else? Okay, there is a significant gap. You notice the gap is closing on the tax, right? But not closing here. Necessarily, yeah, I would consider that not closing. And the gap is pretty significant. I mean, you would first look at this chart. And this graph, you would say, it's two different things graphed. Kind of like the top and the bottom, two different sets of data. It's the same set of data, but it breaks down by ethnicity, and it's clearly the gap is pretty significant. What else? Okay, not changing. Persons are doing some things differently. What else? Go back here again. Would you read this graph? Say that one didn't say science. It said all subjects. Let's say it was the first one, and it was all subjects. Would you read this graph as we've made great improvements over the last 7, 8 years? Would you read it that way? Hey, and if we have, why is that graph that way? If we use tax to determine, we use the state exam to determine how well we're improving with instruction, why wouldn't, if we're improving instruction, yeah, we don't have a rigor. However, we did maintain the scores based on the district it's taken, but you're right, we don't necessarily have the rigor that this is required. Okay, good.